I had this conversation with a client last night, and it's just stuck with me ever since we hung up. You know, it wasn't about trying to fix the guy. It was about finally facing the kind of pain that just doesn't go away because you tell yourself that it's all over. You know that feeling when you think you've moved on and you think that you've grown, and then life throws you a small reminder and suddenly your chest still gets tight like it was that, like the experience happened all over again, like it was yesterday. That's the kind of moment where we're sitting in right now. And he was talking about betrayal, because betrayal can stick with the person, you know, but the betrayal itself wasn't the story. The real story was how long he had been trying not to feel the betrayal. Just years of pushing it down, years of telling himself it didn't matter anymore, years of pretending control was the same thing as peace. And I see that a lot in the men that I work with. We mistake control for strength. We mistake distance for healing. And we think that if we can just manage everything that's going on around us, the storm that's inside will somehow stay quiet. But the truth is, the more we try to hold all of that together, the more we realize how fragile our armor really is. And what hit me the hardest wasn't this guy's words. It was the way that he would pause. That moment when he finally stopped trying to explain himself. And you could feel it through his silence. That's when the truth comes out. Not through the story, but through the breath that follows. That's the space where growth really begins. And I think a lot of us are afraid of that pause. We don't know how or who we're going to be without the defenses we've built. And we tell ourselves that we've forgiven the person or the circumstance that we've went through. But forgiveness without honesty is repression dressed as wisdom. I'll say that again, okay? Forgiveness without honesty is repression dressed up as wisdom. The body always knows what the mind is hiding. And it shows up in how tense our jaw really gets, how short our patience really becomes, how numb we feel in moments that should be full of life. And when we started unpacking it for this guy, it wasn't about blaming anyone else. It was about ownership, because that's where real healing happens, you guys. When a man finally says, I see what I did to keep myself safe, and I don't need to live that way anymore. The need to be right, to prove, or to control, the need to win, it all comes from the same root. It comes from fear. Fear that if we don't hold on, we will lose ourselves. Now, I built this method called the Source Method, and it was built for this exact kind of moment. Stands for stop, observe, understand, release, commit, and then enforce. And it's not just a catchy acronym. It is a roadmap for those seconds when you can feel yourself starting to spiral, when the old pattern wants to take over. Now, stopping is hard because it means surrendering control. Observing is hard because it's acknowledging the truth about what's really going on. Understanding is even harder still because it means facing the part of you that created the problem. But once you get there, you guys, once you really see it, you can finally release it. And that's where you can start writing a new story. Every man who's ever worked with me knows this part. Release does not mean forget. It means you finally stop letting the past run your present. You stop performing for love. You stop reacting to ghosts. You start building from peace instead of pain. One of the guys in our school community too, he said it perfectly. He says, I was numb for years and now I can feel again. And it doesn't scare the hell out of me. That's what this type of work is about. And what made last night's session powerful was that it reminded me how universal these struggles really are. The surface details always change, right? The different relationship, it's a different betrayal, it's a different timeline, but the emotion underneath it is all the same. Every single man is walking around with an old story of being unseen, unchosen, or unworthy. And most of us, we learned to hide it behind achievement, behind anger. We think if we build enough muscle, money, or mastery, we'll finally outrun it. But you can't outlift a wound. You can't outwork loneliness. You have to face it. And when you finally do, something shifts. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to show me? That's the turning point, because pain itself is not punishment. It's an instruction manual. It's life's way of saying you're still carrying something that isn't yours. And the question is whether or not you're going to listen to that. That's what I love about the community that we've built on school. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's a place where we can come and we can gather and we can say, this is what's really happening in my life. And then you're not judged for it. It's a place where strength isn't measured by how much you can carry alone, but how honest you can be while you're learning to set that shit down. And the guys in there are proof that connection really heals people. When one man opens up, it gives permission for another man to breathe. And when you breathe, you can finally think clearly. I keep thinking back to last night's call, watching this man go from being owned by his triggers to being aware of them in real time. It's like watching someone learn a new language, the language of emotional fluency. And at first it's awkward. It's slow and you stumble. It's uncomfortable. But then, man, something clicks. And you realize that emotion, the ones that you've been avoiding, they're not the enemy. It's invitations. All of these emotions that you have been avoiding are invitations to pay attention, to soften, to choose differently this time. What most people call transformation, it's really just honesty, practiced long enough to become a habit. It's the daily decision to stop lying to yourself about who you are and what you need. It's saying, I can love deeply without losing myself, that I can forgive without forgetting the lesson, that I can be strong without being closed. And that's the kind of strength that builds families, it restores marriages, and it brings peace to men who've been at war with themselves for decades. And sometimes I wish people could see what I see in all of these sessions, the courage it takes to sit in front of another man and say, I'm tired of pretending. I need help. That is real strength. It's not loud, it's humbling. It's not flashy, it's quiet. It's steady. It's present. And man, it is contagious. When one man does it, it changes the entire room. Now, if you're listening to this and something in your chest feels a little bit heavy, I don't want you to run from that. That's your body asking for truth. Sit with that feeling. Stop. Observe what's really there. Understand the story behind it. What is it protecting? And then release it by breathing instead of reacting. Commit to showing up as the man that you're becoming, not the man you were forced to be. And then enforce it with every day, like through small, tiny actions, consistent choices. That's the work. It's not glamorous work, but it is sacred work. It's transformative. Now, every time I finish a session like this, I remember why I do this work, not to fix people, but to remind them that they were never broken, that we just learned to armor up because somewhere along the way, we were convinced that love was conditional, but it's not. Love, you guys, real love. And I'm not talking about the surface romantic love. I'm talking about real divine love here. It's always there, but you don't see it until you stop performing for it. And if you're ready, guys, to do any of this type of work, I want you to come and join us. The link for our school community is in the description down below. It's where we practice being seen, supported, and accountable. It's entirely free. Okay. I'm eating all of the costs for that. And I want you in there. If any of this resonates, I want you in there. And if you're in a season where you know you need more one-on-one personal guidance, you're done trying to figure out alone, you can always book a call with me too. The link for that is down in the description too. There's no pressure. It's just an invitation from one man to another. Because I'm telling you, you've carried this long enough. It's time to set it down. And if you are still here with me watching this right now, YouTube's algorithm is going to be throwing another video up in this corner. I think you should probably watch that. You know, maybe it's time to click on that. Maybe it's time to see what else life is trying to throw your way. So I'll see you on the call. I'll see you in the community. I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you later.